Borneo? Why do you want to go to Borneo? We heard this question often when we began planning our trip. And where is Borneo anyway? Borneo is an island just north of the equator in Southeast Asia. 3 countries claim portions of Borneo: Indonesia, Brunei, and Malaysia. We went to the Malaysian part of Borneo. We began our trip in Kuching, the capital of the East Malaysian state of Sarawak. Kuching is the 4th largest city in Malaysia. The name Kuching means cat in Malay, and there were cat statues everywhere. The Tu Pet Kong Temple is the oldest Chinese temple in Kuching. The temple is a place people go to honor the dead. Women sell folded yellow paper, incense sticks, and red candles, which are offered along with prayers to pay respects to the dearly departed. Kuching South City Hall is shaped like an upside-down umbrella. The Sarawak Museum, completed in 1891, is designed to look like a chateau in Normandy. There was an art show in the new wing of the museum, Portraits from My World, by New York artist Stephen Bennett. Thomas, our guide, pointed out a well-weathered totem pole from his tribe. Ashes of his tribe members are placed in an urn in the pole. We walked along the peaceful, quiet, and nicely landscaped waterfront. We caught a water taxi across the river to visit Fort Margarita. Fort Margarita was erected in 1870 to protect the city of Kuching. We climbed the wall to the guard towers. The views of the city across the river were spectacular. To get to Bako National Park, we took a 45-minute drive from Kuching and then a 30-minute speedboat ride to the park. A troop of naughty long-tailed macaque monkeys approached us. Later, a troop of silverleaf monkeys entertained us with their annex in the large trees by the shore. We spotted a pit viper resting among the leaves of a tree near park headquarters. Pit vipers are found in Southeast Asian rainforest. Our rainforest hike began on a bridge over a mangrove swamp. Along the way, we spotted a large proboscis monkey eating his breakfast in the trees. Proboscis monkeys are famous for their huge noses and pot bellies. They are only found in Borneo's coastal swamps. We followed a steep jungle trail. The trail ended at a beach where our speedboat was waiting. We passed by the Sea Stack, a mini island right off the coast. The boat stopped at a beach where we waded ashore. We headed straight up some rickety steps for a grand view of the coastline below. We then began a 2-hour hike to see pitcher plants. Pitcher plants, all sizes and varieties, hung from the vines. Suhai, our guide, explained that they are carnivorous plants that digest insects that crawl into their pitchers. The hapless victim immediately drowns in a pool of digestive enzymes. After a 5-hour bus ride, we boarded a boat to Batang Ai National Park and the luxurious Hilton Longhouse Resort. Early the next morning, we took a short walk to watch the sunrise over the lake. The sky was overcast, so the sunrise was disappointing, but we enjoyed listening to the birds. At one point, I looked up into the trees and saw something. We're not sure what it was. The guide thought it was leaves blowing in the wind. From the resort, we took a 45-minute boat ride through lush scenery to visit a primary school in the rainforest. We arrived at the school that is home to over 100 kids, mostly from the Iban tribe. They attend school here from February to October, staying all week. On weekends, the parents pick up the children, by boat of course, and take them to their longhouse. Some kids travel as much as 10 hours to get to school. We walked around the school grounds and saw the students with their beautiful smiling faces. They practiced their English with us. We saw the bathing facilities. We stopped by the dormitories with their Spartan accommodations. Classes were suspended while we were there, and everyone was having a grand time. We boarded the boats again and headed to a nearby Iban longhouse. We removed our shoes to enter the longhouse and then walked through the common area, a covered veranda, down a long corridor. Each family has an apartment in the longhouse with a door to the veranda. To the Iban, the longhouse is not merely a home, it is a way of life. It is always built next to a river for transportation and a source of water. The Iban are very democratic and egalitarian. All adults have a say in the way the community is run. The leader, or headman, is chosen by the residents. The headman of our longhouse greeted us with rice wine and let us tour his apartment where he keeps his flat-screen TV. Next came the entertainment, a series of tribal dances. Our guide, Thomas, joined in the festivities. Even shy, quiet Rivers, our other guide, grabbed a sword and put on a show. We had an excellent lunch served by our wonderful Iban host. Back at the Hilton, we joined in a jungle walk. On top of a hill, our guide showed us a warrior's grave. Iban come here once a year to have a picnic and honor their ancestors. The best part of the hike was walking on a suspended canopy bridge. The Sepalak Orangutan Rehabilitation Center provides medical care for orphaned and confiscated orangutans. We walked about a quarter of a mile to a viewing platform in the rainforest. The orangutans came from the forest to a feeding station next to the platform. A British society lady, Barbara Harrison, started the center. She was given an orangutan for her birthday and wanted to return it to the wild. One thing led to another, and before long, Sepalak was born. The word orangutan means man of the forest. They are wonderful, intelligent, and rather solitary animals. In the wild, orangutan babies stay with their mothers for up to 6 years while they learn the skills they need to survive in the forest, the most important of which is climbing. Sephiroth uses a buddy system to replace a mother's teaching. A younger ape is paired with an older one to learn the skills they need. Orangutans are remarkably intelligent and are known to use tools for feeding. Wild orangutans are found only in Borneo and Sumatra, Indonesia. The orangutans had to share their food with some very aggressive pig-tailed macaque monkeys. Orangutans are in danger of becoming extinct in the wild. Destruction of their habitat due to logging, mining, and forest fires has increased rapidly in the last decade. An orangutan has 4 times the strength of a man. We moved away when one came up on the viewing platform. Orangutans usually travel alone or in small groups, often consisting of 2 females, their young, and occasionally an adult male. On the way back to Sandakan from Sephiroth, we stopped at an Australian prisoner of war memorial, where 2,400 Australian and British soldiers were held by the Japanese during World War II. The Japanese sent them on 3 horrible death marches. Only 6 soldiers survived. The author, Agnes Key, moved to Sandakan in the 1920s. Her first book, Land Below the Wind, was about life in North Borneo in the 1930s. Her second book, 3 Came Home, about POWs during World War II, was made into a film. She loved their 2-story wooden villa of colonial architecture on a beautiful hill covered with lush tropical jungle. Sandakan's majestic Buddhist Chinese temple is located on a hill 1,000 feet above Sandakan Bay. The original temple was destroyed during World War II. The new one was completed in 1987. The temple site provides a panoramic view of the bay and the town. We went to a village built on stilts over the water. It is the home of the Baozhou tribe, also called Sea Gypsies. The Baozhou are seafaring people who live off the sea by trading and fishing. The Monsopiad Cultural Village is a reconstruction of a traditional Kadazan tribe village. Today, the largest ethnic group in Sabah, the Kadazan people, make up 30% of the population. We visited the House of Skulls, where 42 skulls hang from the rafters. These skulls were the trophies collected by Monsopiad. Next, we went to their rice wine factory. The entire operation was tucked under a house on stilts. We also learned about harvesting and processing rice. After they break the hull by pounding, it is left out in the sun to dry. The drying process makes it easier to separate out the hulls just by shaking it in a flat basket. The Monsopiad villagers put on a colorful traditional dance program. The dancers were entertaining, but obviously they needed some assistance. After the dancing festivities, we crossed the swinging bridge to get a view of the village from across the Moyog River. Kota Kinabalu, called KK by the natives, is the capital of Sabah. KK had to be completely rebuilt after World War II. The Sabah Foundation building is 30 stories of glass supported by a single column structure. It's an architectural and engineering marvel. About 30% of the population of Borneo is Muslim, and another 30% is Chinese, so there are many beautiful mosques and Chinese temples. Tunku Abdul Rahman National Park, just a short boat ride from KK, consists of 5 islands which offer excellent snorkeling among the coral reefs. We went to Sapi Island. Malaysia's capital city, Kuala Lumpur, is one of the most lively, advanced, and vibrant cities in Southeast Asia. It was voted the 3rd cleanest large city in the world, behind Singapore and Tokyo. Its modern skyscrapers contrast with the elegant structures built by the British before Malaysia's independence in 1957. The King's Palace, built in 1928, is the official residence of the King and Queen of Malaysia. All 9 sultans of Malaysia take turns at being king for 5 years each. The palace sits on a well-manicured and beautifully landscaped 28-acre plot. The National War Memorial is the largest freestanding sculpture in the world. 50 feet high, the sculpture and gardens honor the country's fallen warriors. Chinatown's Petaling Street is one of the best places to buy a Rolex watch for $6. When they were completed in 1998, the 88-story, 1,453-foot Petronas Towers were the world's tallest buildings. There's a taller one in Taiwan now. The building sit on the beautiful Kuala Lumpur city center. The Sky Bridge, which connects the 2 towers, offers great views of the city. Batu caves, about 7 miles north of Kuala Lumpur, are a sacred place for the Hindus in Malaysia. One of the caves has a Hindu temple accessible by climbing 272 steps. In addition to the worshippers and tourists, there was a troop of mischievous long-tailed macaque monkeys. The bird park in Kuala Lumpur is the world's largest free-flight aviary. You can stroll through the park and also watch a bird show. We'll always remember our wonderful Borneo adventure.